So I've been thinking about what to put into this fun little jeans journal decorated with a fabric snippet roll. If you've missed how I made this, I will link the video for you down below this video. I considered whether I should make this into a small ephemera holder for when I'm away from home. I considered making it a journal. And in the end, I decided I will make it into a journal. And I want to use this journal for documenting my favorite projects. So let me share what I have prepared for the pages so far. I have printed these pages from my kit Keeper of Memories, which was inspired by an in-person workshop I attended with Alex Castro Ferreira. Again, I will link her online workshop for this course below for you. And I love the vintage look of this kit. It's so versatile and it just seemed like the perfect kit for this little journal. So I printed all 12 pages and I printed them on regular copy paper, always printing 2 sheets on 1 page, but then also cutting those down a little bit more to fit my journal. Let me give you the measurements, because I know even if I tell you your measurements will be different because your journal will be different, I know some of you will still want to know my measurements. So the width of my printouts are approximately 7¼ inches or 18½ centimeters. And the height is about 4 7/8 inches or 12 centimeters. And then I also took some coffee dyed papers, and these are a little bit bigger than my printouts because I wanted to have a border around. So I'll tell you the measurements of these as well. Almost 8 inches or exactly 20 centimeters. And the height is 5 inches or about 12.7 centimeters. But again, you will have to adjust these to whatever works for you. And the idea is that I will have 3 signatures and 2 pages per signature, and each page will have a print in the front and in the back. So that makes a total of only 6 pages, but with all of these printables added to the pages and with ephemera and pockets and things I'll be adding inside, I think it will be a good size for this journal. So my first step is to glue all of these printables on these coffee dyed papers, front and back. So the concept of adding projects to journals is not new for me, and I have been doing so in my planners. For example, here, this is my little art journal that I made during the art journal workshop and which I'm still working in. So I made a pocket out of this and I added some more photos from inside to the pocket here. But I have many different things in my planners. So I wanted to dedicate a whole journal just to the projects, to have them not mixed up with the other things that I have in my planner. For example, you might also remember I showed this in my Plan With Me August video, where I have all of the photos of the sketchbook that I sent to Sketchbook Hamburg. This is another example of that, and I want to do more of that in this little journal, so that I have one dedicated journal just for the projects I love. And I'm hoping that when I'm able to view all of these projects together, that maybe I can find a common denominator of what I love and why I love the things I love, and make more of those in the future. So after I have all of these glued on now, I realized that maybe it's not enough because I want to be able to add many projects in here. I don't want to have to make another journal for it anytime soon. So I decided I am going to add some other pages. And I also realized that maybe you want the measurements of this journal as well. So the width of the covers is 4¼ inches, centimeters, that's about 12 centimeters. And the height is about 5½ inches or 13½ centimeters. And the spine, 1 inch or 2½ centimeters. I also forgot to mention that these digitals are linked down below for you, both in US letter format and in A4 format. So the other papers I want to add are just my normal coffee dyed papers, so 1 per signature. And I also want to add some technical drawings. I found these at one of my local thrift shops a while ago, and I've been meaning to digitalize these since a while. So I finally done that, so you can find these linked below as well. There are 10 pages in total. Some of these are from 1952 and some are from 1960. I think they are super cool and they are German. And then I'm also going to sew around these pages here with the printouts. I won't do it for the other ones though. So I have all my pages ready to go. I've sewn around all of these with a zigzag stitch. So I just sewed through it and now I have it on both sides. Then I have my 3 coffee dyed papers, inked up all of the edges, both sides, and same thing with these technical papers. I have these 3 and I've inked them up on both sides. That means 3 signatures, and each signature is going to have 3 of these double-sided printed papers, 1 of this and 1 of this, so 5 pages per signature. And now I just need to fold all of my papers in half, and I will use my handy vintage iron to get a good crease. So much more fun than ironing clothes, which I really don't enjoy. What is it about paper? It's the same thing with sewing. I really don't enjoy sewing fabric unless it's fabric on paper, but just sewing paper is just amazing. And I can't explain it. Can you relate maybe? There's just something about paper, isn't there? So now I can assemble my signatures. And I folded this one wrong because I wanted actually this side to be the front because I wanted to add a title. So let's fold that the other way. I thought I paid attention to that. I guess I didn't. Okay, so that's my first page. Then we'll add one of the technical ones. Then we have another printed page, a plain coffee dyed page, and another printed page. So that's 1 signature. And I'll continue doing the same thing for the other 2. Oh, that doesn't work. What am I doing? Oh, I see. I put 3 in here. Why did I do that? Nobody knows. So 1, 2, and 3. So we have have that. Let's see how they fit in the little journal. Yeah, I think that works well. And of course it's going to get more bulky. I'll just make sure to sew these in with plenty of space between the signatures so that they do have room to grow. So this is now the moment I said I was going to regret having added this fabric snippet roll piece already, because now if I sew these right into my cover, we're going to see the stitching here, which I don't want. So now my only other option that I feel comfortable with is to make a hidden spine, meaning that I will be sewing these on a separate piece and then gluing that into my journal. So I want to use the same fabric for the spine I'll be sewing in that I used here on the inside, which is called Butterflies and Moths. It's a Tim Holtz fabric. I will link the online store where I buy mine, which is in Germany, for you below. So I'll let you know how wide I'll make my spine. So I'm leaving about a centimeter in between the 3 signatures. And then I'm also leaving approximately a centimeter on either side. So I'll be tearing this at 2 inches or 5 centimeters. And the height should obviously be the same as my cover. Actually, I'm fine if it peeks out just a little bit on the bottom and the top. And since this is a bit flimsy, I'm going to add another strip behind it. This is from a tablecloth. So I'll cut out another strip in exactly the same size. So I'll glue the 2 fabric layers together with some thinned down fabric glue. I use this textile glue from Action. You can also use a regular PVA glue or Fabri-Tac 3-in-1 glue. We need to let this dry. So adding the glue also makes this a little more stiff, which is perfect. Then I cut myself a piece of graph paper approximately this size of my fabric strip. The graph paper comes in handy, especially when you're working with centimeters. I learned this from my dear friend Luise Heinzel. Danke nochmal, Luise. Manchmal funktioniert's, ja, aber manchmal ist die Mitte genau zwischen 2 Kastel. Anyway, sorry, I had to say that to Louisa in German because I always have difficulties using this. It only works when the middle line is on the line. Sometimes it happens that the width works out so that the middle is right in between 2 lines, and then the whole advantage of having a grid line is gone. But in this case, it works out, and I think I'm doing something wrong because I think for Louisa it works every single time. So Louisa, if you have a secret, please share it with us. So my middle signature, and then going out 1 centimeter and 1 centimeter. So I know that 1 square here is 1/2 centimeter. So this is really easy. Then if I fold this in half, if I'm lucky, the middle is going to be on a line. It is. That also hardly ever happens. So I have my middle. So that means that this is where my middle hole is going to go, and I'll just do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch because it's such a short journal. And then I'll move on either side, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, let's do 5 centimeters. So that would be my top hole, and then counting again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters, and that will be the bottom hole. So these are the points where I need to make my holes. That was easy. I should mark that this is the top. And now I can just poke the holes through to my fabric. I like adding this piece of foam packaging underneath. And now I'll make them a little bigger so I can see them more easily for sewing. Then I just fold my template on one of the lines where I have the holes. I'll just take the middle one so that I can put this into my signature to make the same holes. And I will double check to make sure these are all right side up. Made that mistake too many times. And I'll try to center this, and then I'll make a little line here so that I can place all my signatures right on these lines so that they all match up. Then I'll just poke my holes. Then I can sew in the first signature. I'm going to take black thread since I've already sewn with black thread. I need approximately 3 heights of my book. And I have a feeling this is too thick. I think it has 6 strands. Yep. So I will take 3 and 3, separate those, and then use those to sew in that signature. So this is the easiest stitch. If you've never done this before, this is a great stitch to start off with making a journal. So you just go in the middle from the inside. We go to the first row of our holes into the middle one. We just come out there. We leave an end long enough to then tie a knot. Then we come out the top. You can also start with the bottom. I always start with the top. It does not matter. Make sure we don't lose this thread. So then we're back inside. We go to the bottom hole. And then we go back through the middle hole, making sure that we are not piercing the thread. So you want them to come out on either side of your middle thread, and then pull it nice and tight and make a square knot going once right over left and then left over right. Before you cut it off, make sure it's nice and tight here and that nothing is wobbling, that this is nice and taut. And if that's all okay, then you just cut these short. And you've sewn in your first signature. Congratulations! Not that hard, is it? So I'll just continue with the other 2, doing exactly the same thing. Once for the middle row and once for the last row. So all 3 signatures are in. It's looking good. And now we just need to glue this into our cover. If I would have been really smart, I would have sewn through here so that the thread just continues here and on the bottom as well. It is what it is. So I'm going to add my glue here on my spine. And then we just do our best to center this. It helps to kind of fold it. And I'll burnish it a little with my bone folder. This is not sticking. Okay, I think we need some more glue. Let's just put the glue directly on the spine. Double check that you're gluing it the right... See, I almost would have glued it in the wrong way around. Always double and triple check. Yeah, I can already feel that gripped it a lot better. So again, I'll just burnish this. And I can also go in between the signatures. And I will let this dry like this overnight. And just like magic, it's the next day. So this has obviously completely dried. It's still a little bit stiff, but it will get easier to bend over time. But what I absolutely love about these soft spine bindings is that your signatures lay absolutely flat. So I'll put a title on this page. I won't flip through the whole thing now, but just so you get an idea of what it looks like now. And in the meantime, I've printed photos of some of my favorite projects. So I have 3 pages, and I printed these in a size that I thought would fit well onto these pages. I'm probably going to back them with something. I have a couple of ideas in my mind. So let me tell you what all of these are, and then we can see what do they have in common, if anything. So obviously this is this little journal here. And these are the snippet rolls that I have put on these painted and embellished wooden sticks. And by the way, I will link all the videos to all of these favorite projects for you below this video for you to check out. So I always kind of have 2 that go together, almost always. Next is another jeans journal that I made recently. This was a design team project for the Digital Collage Club, so you can already see how similar they are. So obviously I really like this style. So this one, again, I won't give you a complete flip through because you can find that video linked below. I have 3 parts for this, and I show you exactly how I made these pages, how I added them to the journal, etc. And this one is my Keeper of Memories book. That's this large one right here. So precious. This one I've made in an online course by Alex Castro Ferreira. So I don't have the whole process of how I made this, but I have videos with the preparation for this workshop, how I decided what to take, what to put in my book, and also some footage of the workshop itself. And I have a whole flip through of this journal. And I also have a separate video of this pocket that I made, or actually it's a coin envelope that I made, which houses a very special letter. The video for this is part of the mini series for this journal, and that's what this photo is right here. Next we have my large jeans journal, which is this one. I'll just give you a sneak peek in case you haven't seen it before. This is definitely one of my favorites. This was also a design team project for the Digital Collage Club. Oh, I love this journal so much. And I wanted to show you this middle page here. Where is it? With the butterfly, because I'm adding a photo of this spread as well. This, of course, is my little art journal, which is here, which I have added quite a few things to in the meantime. Again, there's, I think, a mini series of this, of the Art Journal Festival itself, my preparations, and adding some things into the journal after the Art Journal workshop, etc. And then I have this photo, which is one of the pages in here, which is this one, and this is my mom. Then we have this one, which is just one single journal page, which is in my current planner. Again, there's a whole video on that, which is this one right here. Love everything about this page. And then we also have this one, which is also a journal page, which is in this older planner from last year. And yeah, pages right here. Love this so much. It's so dimensional. It's so nice to just go over it with your hand and feel all the different textures. I love the colors. I love the bright orange here in the background. Love all the grunge. Just everything about this page. And finally, we have this page. So on top here is this little journal with a tab binding. I so adore this. This has got to be, even from all of these, maybe my favorite of everything. Again, I have a video on how I made this. You can see a full flip through. You can see how I made the base, how I grunged up the pages and everything. So that's the front, and this photo here is the back. This one down here is another one, which is actually very similar in style and size. I love these two together. So fun. So this is the front, this is the back. I'll give you a peek inside. Again, there is a video on this. This has so many little pieces everywhere to take out and to just play with. This is such a fun one as well. Took forever to make, but love it to bits. And finally, we have these two. So this is a piece of ephemera that I made during December 2022, which was the December Daily series hosted together with my dear friend Louise Heinzel. And this has got to be my favorite piece of ephemera ever, which is why I made it into my current logo. So this is the whole photo when it was still in the December journal. This obviously is just a part of it here. And then this inspired me to make business cards. So my current business cards have this portion here. So basically that's that enlarged. And it has my information on the back. Love these little cards. So when I look at all of these together, can I find any common denominators to help me with future projects? One theme I definitely have going on here is the jeans theme. So maybe I'll make more projects with jeans material. Then I also see a common theme of small journals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small journals here. I seem to like the grunge more than I love the bright colors. I love both. But when I look at my favorites here, I see there's a lot more grunge than bright colors. The only bright colors really are here in my little art journal, which is full of bright colors, and I really enjoy and love this. But if I had to choose one of the two, it's definitely more the neutral tones and the grunge. And finally, another common theme that I see is I really enjoy working with vintage photos, whether they are strangers like here or here or here, or they're my own vintage family photos like my parents here or my mom here. Of course, these have a lot more meaning, but I don't have that many different photos of my parents from that time, so I can only use them so often. I find this really helpful to see what I want to steer towards more in the future. So stay tuned for the next episode where I'm going to add these to my new little favorites journal. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.